Okay, so welcome everybody for this last session of the reading groups of the links for this academic year. I see the opportunity to thank all the speakers for the free reading groups, to thank also all the people who attended the sessions. I will soon make a call for participation for next year. Please do answer me if you like the reading groups and if you attend the sessions. Please try to be a speaker for at least one session next year. It will be otherwise the reading groups cannot work. So for this last session, I have the great honor to leave the floor to Alonso.
So thank you, Francois. So I took great pleasure in seeing the IP widget presentation by Fabian, and it inspired me to propose this session about AnyWidget and also about Solara, which hopefully you will like. So let's first say, okay, so what's the pain? So the pain is you're a researcher, you did your research, you spent 2 months, 3 months reading papers, perhaps years reading papers, and finally you got a great result, state of the art, and you want to share it with the world. And one way is, okay, you publish in a great conference, and you spent a few days preparing the slides, some weeks preparing the presentation, etc. And but now you want to share it with other people, in particular with people who may not have technical background, but who can understand what's the result. Or perhaps there is some people who have technical background, but doesn't have the time. So for example, if I want to speak with the manager of my manager, he will not have the time to see 1,000 PDFs that different researchers send. So the goal is that I love IP widgets, and I really like the fact that you can interact, but even if you send a notebook to the manager of my manager, it's unlikely that he will install the requirements, install Python, put everything in place, and run the notebook. So that was a little bit, that's the pain. And hopefully this is some sort of relief. So this is what I'm going to present today. So what is Solara? I'm going to start with Solara. So there are several different options if you want to do some kind of demo, some sort of presentation, and Solara is not one of the most popular. So so this is the number of GitHub stars. So it is how much popular it is a given application. And here you can see that Streamlit is the most popular one, followed closely by Gradio. Gradio is the one from Hugging Face. Streamlit is the one from Snowflake. There is HoloVis panel, which is coming from NVIDIA. And then later it's Solara and Shiny. To be honest, the ones that I most like, the most like are the two last, Solara and Shiny. I also like very much Streamlit, but we will see what are the problems with these different options. Okay, so this graph also tells us some other things which I think are relevant. So one of the things is that Streamlit is a relatively old product. And old means also mature, which means usually when Streamlit launch a new release, your applications still work because it's a mature product. They try to keep that it is maintainable over time, so this is good. Second thing, that it is so popular, it has two other things. One is documentation. So the documentation is much clearer than others. For example, Solara, Shiny has a relatively good documentation. And the third thing, which is also not negligible, is network effect, which means that there is a lot of people doing Streamlit apps, which means that deployment, when people propose to deploy apps, they usually think about Streamlit. They make things easier for Streamlit people. Stripe or other kind of add-ons can be done in Streamlit. And Streamlit also has the other thing is that there is this community, like there is a lot of people, there is like some sort of Reddit of people working on Streamlit. And that makes that if you have a problem, you can sometimes find an answer in these community blogs, etc. While the others is more complicated. Okay, so these are the advantages of Streamlit. So what's the proposal of Solara? So Solara proposes the following. So Solara says, we are not the easiest one to start with, but as your app size grows, the code complexity should remain stable. So that's the promise, and we will see. So this is from the website of Solara. Basically the competitor, which I think is here is Streamlit, is it is much easier to get started, but as your app size grows, the code complexity grows. And we will see this hopefully with some examples and see if this is true. So, okay. So first, how do you work with Solara? So it's simply pip install Solara. How do you run it? Solara run your app. And yes, I need to go back once, I think. Okay. Okay, so let's go to the basic app. And for this, I'm going to come here. So here I have a Solara app. So here is the app. Here is the browser where it is running. So it's just an iframe, but okay. So this is sort of where it is running, and here it is the terminal where I'm running it. So this is simply, you can see I just put Solara run, the name of the app, which is Solara app. And I will perhaps start with Streamlit. So Streamlit is much easier. So if I have a Streamlit app, this is what a Streamlit app looks like. So it's 6 lines of code. And normally, if I, so the first thing to notice is that you install Streamlit. If you put a title, this will already run. Let's see. Interesting.
Yeah, probably without this camera. Should be a good when in doubt.
When in doubt, refresh. Okay, no. Okay, it refuses to work. I mean the good one. 8503. Okay. Which is going to make things less interactive, I guess. I don't want to do that. Let's see if this works. It doesn't work.
Yeah, probably. Okay.
Yeah, but normally it should give me the option to refresh.
And if you restart.
Yes, this is what I'm going to do. Okay. Which is good.
That's progress.
That's progress. Great. So, okay, so if you just put import Streamlit and you put a title, it should work. It's very easy to get started. You add a description. So this is a text. So if you are most people just use write actually. You can instead, if it is a text, you can put text, but most people, they are usually just write. We should just work also. It's the same. And you can add a button. So if you add a button, for example, here, I'm going to remove this because this is not needed. I'm going to use it later, perhaps. I just put what I want to display in that button. Okay, and here it should be. And as you see, here is the app. You put click me, and it puts hey there. So which should be the same as here. If you put readme, this will be the same. So this is an app, and this can be deployed, of course, and this can be shared. Then you just share the link, and you have this app. Okay, so now let's see what Solara has to offer. So Solara is much longer text, if you notice. And we will go also line by line for this first application. So we first are going to consider just the title. So let me start. So would you import Solara, then everything in Solara is a component. So that's important. Then inside this component, you will define one important component, which is going to be page, which is going to be the main one. So this is going to be the main component. And then
what's a page with a capital P?
Yeah, that's it. Yes. So the convention is that since it's a component, you start with uppercase. If it is a function, you start with lowercase. But if it's a component, you start with uppercase. This is a convention because I think it works even if you put lowercase. But
and page is the reserved keyword, or you can call it blah blah.
I can call it blah blah. I will call it blah blah later,
Yeah,
and then you can. I know, but then to run it, if I want to run it, I'm going to show different things. So one of the advantages of Solara is that you can run it on the notebook, and then you can display it whenever you want. But if you want to display it in a like if you want to deploy it, it need to be the main. It needs to be main. Otherwise, it cannot detect that it is the main. Okay, so this is, if you want to just put the title, you need to already add this new 2 lines, which is you need to define that it is a component, and you need to define that it's a main page. But later you can see, okay, this is going to be the title. You can put a description. This is a Solara app. And here, ideally, you would like to put a button, like in the other one. But it's going to be more difficult. So if I just put a button, I can just put it. And this should work. Click me. But it will not do anything. So if you want to do something with this, you need to define a function, which is going to be, in this case, the function. So in Python, you can define these anonymous functions, in which it's going to define what this function is going to do. And if here I have a variable, which this is going to start, this is going to, how do you say, store the value of this variable. It's going to be clicked. This is going to be a function, a variable that will change over time. And when I click it, I need to define what I'm going to do with this variable. So in this case, I'm going to set it to true. So it was false and it was going to be true. And therefore, to access the value of this variable, I need to put click value. And then I just define what I want to do later, which is going to be hey there. So this should be the same as the other one. Okay, so definitely.
If you click again, what's the thing?
This should be fine.
Quite reasonable.
And
it could go
this should
back
be fine.
to false.
No, because the lambda set clicked to true.
Oh yeah, yes, sorry.
So the whole thing is okay. It's significantly more harder. Let's say this very basic app. So I think this is true at the beginning. But let's do something a little bit, which I think is reasonable. Which is, let's say that your application is a little bit.
Can I ask for a few more details about the
Yeah.
previous example? So when you click, does it refresh the whole page or does it
No.
manage to?
It managed to
Find out which component?
exactly.
Because when you look at its Python code, so that means that it's not fully evaluated, but it's transferred on the client side.
I don't know this the how it manages, but it's supposed to be React style.
But
sort
that's the
of
thing,
thing.
but if clause is actually translated into the HTML code that is broadcasted to the.
I don't
know.
I don't know. Sorry.
You didn't try to see the source code of the page?
No. Sorry. So let's assume, I'm going to assume that your application is more than just one button. So if I add a new button in my Streamlit app, run it, and I click it, here, what should it happen? People who have not seen Streamlit, because if you have seen Streamlit, you know what happens.
Nothing.
So nothing to me is what should happen, but something happened. Why? If people who love Streamlit, and this is, they know that what happens here is that it will rerun the whole application. So the first time I click, it becomes this component true, but later it will not become this component true anymore. So this to me is unintuitive, but this is my perspective, and I know that a lot of people disagree with me, maybe. So let me find what will be the solution. The solution to this in Streamlit is
And just to be sure that I understand, if you write something like if st button, another button, st text, blah blah, it will be the same. So it will put blah blah, but remove a there, or
it should.
Yeah, like this.
It should
To
normally.
try to understand this nasty form of logic.
Let's see that it's running. It should ask me rerun, I guess. Okay. I click hey there.
Now,
I click hola. I click hey there.
That's simply disgusting.
So to me, personally, the first time I saw this, I said, okay. And later you know that the answer is that Streamlit is doing this. So now you don't need, you cannot you need to keep store this state. So to store the state, you need to define similar to before a function. This function will store the state, which is going to be called session state, st session state. And to store it, you need to first see that it is not in the session state, and then define a value, which is going to be false. So you add one button, and you add a lot of lines of code related to states. Okay, you may argue that it's similar to the other one, but one advantage of the other one is that you can have this nice thing, which is called basically this reactive variable, which is storing the state. You can just set it. So this is something nice. And here you are defining the state. So basically you are decoupling state from component. In Streamlit, they are both together. And that's nice because you can easily create components, but it's not nice when you just want to, I mean, when your application grows.
And excuse me, but maybe I'm anticipating, but for example, if you have another page of your application where there is also a variable that is called collect.
Yes.
Will there be some clashes?
Yeah, that's why you need to. So in this will be a dictionary actually. Session state is a dictionary which you can access also with this. I don't know what's the name with dot. But it's a dictionary, so you are storing all the things, and that means that there will be problems. So and you are indeed anticipating because, okay, let's first show what's, so in Solara, if I just want to do a button, I just put another button. And I made a mistake, so this shouldn't work. And if I click, and it's normal because the state has been stored here in clicked. So it's not stored in the component. Now, if I go back to the Streamlit case, they are combined, which means that now if I define in this button, I call it the same as the other one. Duplicate widget. You are duplicating the widget. There are multiple identical widgets with the same key. Which means since you are not, these are coupled, the state and the components are coupled, you need to define a key. And that means that now I will need to, sorry for that, define a key, which can be key equal something. And this should work.
Okay.
Sorry, I need to.
Because by default, the key is automatically generated from the
Exactly.
text of the button. Okay.
And now this should work.
Okay.
But as you see, we had to care about keys. We had to care about decision states. While here, if I just put click me, this should have no trouble whatsoever because the state has been decoupled from the component. Okay, so this is something that I wanted to show, which is related to the state. Now let's try to get back to another thing. These are the things that I already showed. Okay, one other thing which is nice in Solara is you can define components. So this is what I am doing here. So in this case, I'm not calling it page, right? I'm reserving this for later. I'm just going to call this process. Sorry, I need to go back one. And here I am defining, and I want to select one option from a set of options. So here I'm going to use a function which is called select, and it's going to run a process if I run one of these three methods. This is, so basically, if I take a method, it will take 3 seconds, sorry, and then it should display result, okay? And now if I define a page now in which I want to compare these 3 methods, this should run, let's say I put method B, method A, method, I don't know which one I put before. But basically, you see that it is running, and normally each of these components is running independently. So let's go back to Streamlit. So in Streamlit, okay, in Streamlit, okay, so the first thing to notice here is that in Streamlit, I need to call this process, each of these processes with a key, as I mentioned before, otherwise it will complain because all these selections didn't are going to have the same name.
Mhm.
So you already have to add these keys. And then the second thing is that if now I run this, let's say option A, it start running. If I call now option B, it will run. And if I call option C, you will see that this is running. And normally it takes 9 seconds. Why? Because each time it's going to rerun the whole application, which means that each time I select another option, this will rerun 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it took less a little bit. This is because I already put the solution. Sorry. If normally you will, if I put like this is the normal thing. You will see that this will run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If I change something in my application, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I guess at some point. Okay. And that's a big problem. Now, to be fair, and this is something, they recently incorporated the experimental fragment, which simulates or does the same as the other one, which is now it should rerun each of these components independently. But to be honest, this is still experimental. It was incorporated 3 months ago. And most of the people, if you talk to most of the people who work on Streamlit, they do not know this feature. So if you know somebody who works with Streamlit, tell it about this feature, and you will make a friend. So you see this. Okay, you still need to worry about all these keys. You still need to worry about this component. Okay, the other thing which is nice about Solara is that you can easily add things. For example, style. So let's say that I want to call this function. Sorry, no, it's not about style. Sorry, it's React style. So if I want to do this application, this for people who work in IP widgets like Fabian or others, this should be quite standard. This is the interact that Fabian showed last time. But for people working with Streamlit, this is impossible. Why? Because it is impossible. I mean, there is no, when I type, this is going to change my variable, and it will immediately call the method that is called using that variable to display me the text. But in Streamlit, this is not possible. And that was one of the reasons, to be honest, that was one of the main reasons why I started using Streamlit, Solara, sorry, because I wanted to do a tokenizer, and I said tokenizer should be relatively straightforward to do. And I should be able to do it in Streamlit, but how surprised I was not to be able to. So as I type, this will transform this into machine language. If I call this as machine language, I can obtain the words, and I can search tokens. So anyway, I mean, all this interaction, it's simply not possible in Streamlit. And not only interaction from the user. For example, here I'm calling a language model to generate a knowledge graph. So let's say that I'm going to say Fabian loves Solara and Streamlit. And normally now it's going to be the language model which is going to change the variable. And as the variable changes, it immediately plugs into a figure. So as the variable changes, it creates a new figure. So, so this is the sort of interaction that is simply impossible in Streamlit. And that was the main reason why, to be honest, why I started using Solara. Other nice thing of Solara is customization. So you can easily customize things in Solara. One thing is, for example, here I just change the color of the button. I put it light green. I change it with the style. I change the color inside. I change the text that is displayed. No problem. I just put style and I put a little bit of CSS. I don't know, to be honest, much CSS about styling, but I know a little bit like color, background color, etc. And font family, okay. And well, you can also do more sophisticated case with CSS. You can define classes, etc. But so you can do very simple. I mean, all the styling, which is simply impossible to do in Streamlit. And I know that some people will say that this is not true, but it is true. No, this is that. So Streamlit has a few options, very limited, and the only true option to simulate something like this, it is looking at the elements in Firefox or in your browser, start looking at what's the name, and then adding a CSS to point to that, which is, to me, it's crazy from a developer point of view. I mean, if you just want to change the color of a button, you shouldn't be looking at the browser and trying to pinpoint what's the right button. I mean, but okay, this is my opinion. So Solara accept, so for people who love IP widgets, so this is a widget that you probably have seen. This is plot right, and this should be plot left. Sorry, plot left, that you know from Fabian's presentation. And you can also, so here we don't have reactive React, but you can define controls similar to the ones from IP widgets, which are actually the same as IP widget. And you can have, normally did I run it? And normally this should run, and this should change both, and this should change only one. Which means that now your IP widget, you can run it also in Solara, no problem. And that means that instead of sending the notebook, you can just send a link to deploy it, because later you can, similar to this, you can, how do I create a new? Okay. You can host. So this was from my previous app, but you can see that I could have done the same for the other one, and you just share it. So you don't need to, I mean, the manager of my manager doesn't need to be installing requirements that the widget didn't work, that the Python was not compatible. It's just a link. And as IP widget has these components that Fabian showed, you can also find that they also have their own components, which means that now you can do the same, but with their components. But it's as you prefer. I mean, if you prefer the IP widgets one, to be honest, perhaps the IP widgets ones, the Greek letters were nicer. But okay. This should change things, and this should change both. No, this should change only this. Yeah. Okay, and I took significantly more time than what I was expecting for Solara, but it's okay. Okay, so now in Solara you can run IP widgets. So wouldn't it be great if we had an easy way to create our own widgets that then we could display in Solara? So if we could create Jupyter widgets that then we can put into Solara. And this is where any widget comes. So any widget, it's a package. It can be installed with pip install any widget. And this is what we're going to do. So let me first start with a motivation. So let's look at a data set. So this is cars data set, very popular. I need to run this, I guess. Okay, and one way to look at the data on this data is to use Seaborn, which I think was also shown in one of the seminars.
Yes.
So you can basically put one with respect to the other. However, this plot has some limits, some limitation, no? Ideally, perhaps I will really like to know which are the cars who have a large horsepower and low miles per gallon, or the opposite. And I would like to interact with this. So this is a little bit unfortunate, but fortunately there exists something a little bit better, which is Altair, which is a declarative language. So this is another language. And here you can, the nice thing is that, well, one thing is that you can look at some particular points and see, for example, okay, these are the values, but perhaps I'm interested in other characteristics from these cars. So perhaps I am interested on these cars, but perhaps I want to look at other characteristics. So here, for example, they are putting origins, etc. Okay. So, and most people, to be honest, to be fair, this is important. And most people think that this is visualization. So they say, okay, this is the end of visualization. Visualization stops here. And that is not true. So if I want to access this, I would like to access something that is, so basically this is taking Python code and it's displaying it in JavaScript, right? Jupyter Notebooks are JavaScript in the front end. And any widget is a way to access JavaScript, or to share, to make a portal between JavaScript and Python. So let's start with a very basic example, which is a button again. So this is a very basic widget, which is this button, which now when I click it, it will count. So there is nothing particularly interested about this button, except that here I have defined all the components in JavaScript. And here I have something which I'm sharing, which is count. So count will be a variable that I share. So in particular, if I now, I have this counter, I can count, tuk, 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 and I can access what's the value of that widget. I can access this, and not only this, but I can, for example, change from Python JavaScript. So it is creating a portal, a gate between the JavaScript world and the Python world. And this, I think, is very cool. And okay, so this was related to this button, but we don't care about buttons. So let's, so a small little thing just to show. So in this code here, the only thing I added was I added some confetti library. And I added when I click the button, so when the counter changes, I'm going to add some confetti. Okay, this is just to say that you can modify the JavaScript, and you can also modify the CSS. So actually here I'm running, I'm going to show a different button, which is going to be blue. Ah, this is horrible. Let's see if I can. But this will, when I hover over, it will be green. The blue, the background color is blue. How about light blue? Light blue. It's a little bit better. Okay, and now you can see that. Do you see or not?
Mm.
So I added a new, with very easily, I added something to the button that was not inside the button, was not part of the button. And I can also normally change the button. This is okay. This is the same as before. And since I have JavaScript, I could take a JavaScript code. Do you know what is this row? Is Remy here?
He's connected.
He's connected.
Yes, I'm here.
So you could import draw, JavaScript, and style, create a Jupyter Notebook widget, which is going to be called deal the cards, which will deal the cards. And in particular, so this is a new widget. In particular, I modify a little bit Remy's code, sorry, Remy, to just deal a certain amount of cards, which is the number of cards that I want. So this is, so value will be the value that I can access. Let's say I change it to 5. Normally it should be smaller than 13. And I will display the number of cards. So, and this is now a Jupyter widget, which means it can run in a Solara application as well. So I could have my own application running this. Okay, but that was not my original problem. So my original problem was I want to access this data. So how can I do that? So I could define a function which will share two things from JavaScript. So I'm going to take from JavaScript of the notebook, I'm going to take the selection. So when I interact with this widget, I could make a selection. So for example, I select this. And from this widget, I'm going to get what are the values that I selected. So the values are going to be horsepower between 94 and 179. And the miles per gallon are going to be from 20 to 26, something. So I extracted now from JavaScript back to Python what was the selection. And that means that now I can plot this, right? In particular, I mean, I can extract just simply the data, but I could select, let's say I have a selection. Here is a selection that I chose, why not? And I have the data frames. So after I have this data frame, I'm going to filter by these two values, and this should work. So I could generate, for example, here is the count of record. This is a histogram. I could change whatever I want. So here I could change another characteristics. Here is just an histogram, but I could change it to a plot between two variables. Because I already have access to this selection. Okay, and now with this new widget, I can change whatever I want from. So you see, you can. So now I have access to the data and I can continue my work. So I can select, get back these elements, and then do whatever I want. In particular, I could do a plot. Here I could select what are the buttons I selected. This should work. Let's not do that because Excel is okay. I think it worked. But later I could also do some machine learning, and this is something I'm going to show later. Which I didn't. Let me see. Just one more. I think in time, I think I'm okay now.
Yeah, you have 12 minutes left.
Yes. So I wanted to do some machine learning in particular. I mean, here we don't care about this, I think. So it will require a little bit of code, but not too much. And now, so this is, I'm using this draw data, which is from a guy. Basically, you can draw data in a Jupyter Notebook or in application, Solara application. And this you can also select, for example, do some logistic regression between two sets. And here I have taken the data. I continue now, and I can do machine learning later with this data. And now this is very nice because now I can show, for example, okay, so this logistic regression works very well. But if I want to divide this problematic to sets, logistic regression will not work. It will suffer. It will try to divide these two sets with a line, but it will not manage to. And for example, I could show another thing, which is a classifier, and I could say, okay, in reality, you could do a decision tree classifier, which will perfectly divide these two sets. And here are the boundaries. So all of this, by taking from JavaScript, I can show something which is interactive, and it's not simply visualization in the sense of, here is the data, I show you this versus this. No, here I'm really going all the way through the machine learning model and throwing. I could also add here what are the values that I generated, for example, and I can even download them. So. And okay, so all of this to say, any widget allow us to do all of these things, and with Solara you now can share this, or well, you can create your own widgets, and you can now create your own application. Okay, so let's go to the conclusions, and then we have some few minutes for question, I guess. So for simple labs, Streamlit is extremely easy to get started. Solara is considerably more complicated for simple apps. No, I don't know if considerable, but it's a little bit more complicated. State management, I think it's easier to understand in Solara than in Streamlit. Reusable components is easier in Solara than in Streamlit, although Streamlit recently incorporated these experimental fragments, so you should check them. I mean, I just showed you, but you can share it with your friends. Customization is easier in Solara than in Streamlit. Streamlit has good defaults, so this is important. But when you have seen a little bit of Streamlit applications, you immediately recognize Streamlit. When you see somebody is presenting to you something, you know it's Streamlit. You know 100% of sure it's Streamlit, which may be something that you want or may not, but it is easily recognized. Solara can be run in Jupyter Notebook, like I show here. Jupyter Lab, voila, Google Colab. So sometimes if I have a few times, instead of Twitter, instead of Facebook, I just open a collab. I start playing with Solara, and it's very easy to get started. IP widgets can be run in Solara. You can do React style application in Solara. And here are the two main points which I think are very compelling for Streamlit, which is documentation. Documentation is much better in Streamlit. And clearly network effects favors Streamlit. So they have a huge community, they have custom components, and also deployment is much easier because all the things that like Hugging Face or Plumber or whatever you want to deploy your application, Streamlit it's very easy, while in Solara you usually need to do Docker and stuff like that, which you may not want. But this is because there is already a big community. And the conclusion for the second part is that AnyWidget really simplifies creating and publishing Jupyter widgets. I easily created a Jupyter widget with the code of Remy. Sorry, Remy. It opened the bridges portal gates between JavaScript and Python through stateful properties that both JavaScript and Python have access to. And AnyWidget allows to create custom widgets, and these widgets can be run in Solara. As I show here, the other one was a Solara app. And therefore, creating your own components for Solara is very easy with a little bit of JavaScript and Copilot. You can easily create. And and you also get for free the widgets for Solara for Jupyter. So that's it for me. I think I have 7 minutes for questions.
JavaScript only, you don't have Python
I think in any case, there is no way to build widgets in Python for Jupyter Notebook. I think. I know that the easiest way before was to create cookie templates, and I don't know, a lot of it was very difficult. But here, the idea is that you can. I mean, yeah, the answer is no. There is no. At least I'm not aware that there are ways to create widgets simply with Python. I wanted to show the code.
The
But
question is, what about the second fastest growing library?
yes, Gradio.
The blue one.
The Gradio. Gradio or? Yes. So Gradio, I had actually a few slides, but I didn't. So Gradio to me, it's very well, installing is very easy, and it's relatively easy, but to me, it's tasks which are very standard in machine learning. So for example, this is a Gradio app. Okay, this is perhaps not the easiest Gradio app. Sorry, the most. So this Gradio app will take a text. It will take input text, output text. It will give a title and a description, and that's it. And you will get perhaps I can run it even now in a Jupyter Notebook. Can I? Let's try if this works. I think it should. So Gradio, it's great to me, but it is mainly for things which I need to put through, I guess. Yes. But it's mainly for things which are relatively standard. Which means, so here you can see that it creates, sorry. So it creates an input text, an output text. So here if I write hello, I don't have reactivity. And I will need to wait, but it will display. So you get input, you get output. And it's very nice if you want to, for example, generate some application which has some transformers. Like for example, you can create a sentiment analysis app just by these 3 lines, 4 lines, 5 lines, sorry. But it's relatively for standard tasks. So you get an input and you will display one output immediately right next to it, and that's it. So you take, for example, a text and you're going to generate an image. This is very easy in Gradio. You just write, you put text, you put what's the model that you have behind, and you put the image, and it will generate for you an app. But it's not, you are not building the app. So if you want something more complex, you then need to enter into blocks and all this weird, I mean, to me, it's a strange word. So to me, it's great if you have a task which is very standard in machine learning, segmentation, clustering. I don't know. I mean, if you have a standard machine learning task, Gradio is great. You don't need more. But for things which can be more playful, it's a little bit limiting, I think.
I've got 2 kind of meta questions.
Yes.
First one is, what do you think about Rise with Jupyter Lab? Is it good now? Or
I think it was okay. No, I don't know if you are the other, so you tell me. But
I still go back to notebook 6.4 so I can use all version.
yeah, to me it was because I wanted to share the three things. Ideally, instead of going back and forth, I wanted to show here the application, here the terminal, and here the.
This is your with lab, yes.
And this I cannot do it in a normal notebook.
But try to use the new eyes, which has less features than the other one.
Yeah.
Other question, so it's kind of classical. In practice, where do you run your server?
Which means.
Where do you run your web applications?
Ah,
you want to display
if you want to deploy them, I have a lot of done like in Hugging Face for playful applications.
allow you to run your own web pages with this type of
Exactly. So this is, for example, the interactive plot, which is the one I show. No, this interactive plot is the one I did for the IP widgets. So this is a web page, and this normally should be the. Normally it should react. Okay, now it's react. And see, and here are the Solara one, the same thing. So, and this is to deploy them. I mean, you can look at the files I have here. I basically create a Docker file with the. But so it's a little bit more complicated. I mean, but if you copy paste this, it should work. You don't need to, because the name of the app is app. I think the requirements are called requirements. The app is called. No, here I call it multi-page, but it's okay. I mean, so that's why it's a little bit more complicated than a Streamlit app, but normally it should. Perhaps this one is.
So it's the spaces in the big face that allow you to do that. Okay.
So this is for free if you want to run something which is not corporate. You see, you can deploy it there. But there is also, I also use Plumber, but because they gave me free credits, so yeah. Here it should be the app. You see, here is the app. I just call it app, and then it should work. Requirements, and it should work. And you just copy paste it.
And the entry point is basically your command line.
Yeah.
Nice.
Other questions
On the bridge, probably.
on the bridge?
Chat. Nice. On the chat.
Chat, yes.
Nothing on the chat.
No?
I just send
Okay.
the links to the sessions about Seaborn and IP-Widget.
Nice.
Okay, so let's wrap up. Thank you, Alonso, again. Have a good lunch, and see you next year for the next season of the reading groups. Bye-bye.
Bye.